This is Oscar Davies for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on the Zone. A pleasure to have Shane McGuigan
Cheers, mate.
on the channel once again. A big fight, Azim, O'Hara, Davies. We're going to go day by day. So press conference, O'Hara turns up, says he doesn't really like boxing, then says he wants to fight until he's 90. What sort of mentality do you think O'Hara's coming into this fight with, and what are you telling Adam, and what's Adam thinking about OD at the moment?
Adam doesn't really read into his opponents. You know what I mean? It's a funny one because up until now in Adam's career, he's boxed kind of like international opponents and people like that don't really talk a lot, and now he's been slung into this. But with that, his last experiences in like press conferences, he hasn't really had to have much back and forth, and he doesn't really listen to his opponent. So Adam's solely focused on himself. He knows O'Hara, he knows what he brings to the table. He knows that he's a great puncher. He's been at the world level. He's only been beaten 3 times by elite level fighters. So he knows the dangers of the fight, and it doesn't really make a difference what O'Hara says because he contradicts himself a lot. But I don't necessarily think he's a bad guy. It's just the way he is, and it's just, you know, it's almost what side of bed he's woke up at.
Yeah, he's given us quite a few of them entertaining little moments over the years. Stylistically, what sort of fight do you think we're going to get in the ring?
Explosive. I think O'Hara is really awkward early on. I think his range, he sort of really extends his jab. If he misses with the right hand, he shoots the jab. He's got quite slow feet, but he's got long arms, and he's got good timing. So it's going to be interesting for Adam for the first 3 or 4 rounds to get the measure of him, because it's something that he hasn't really, that style he hasn't seen it. He's seen it in sparring, but he hasn't seen it with 8-ounce gloves on when he's trying to impress people and headline on Sky Sports, just what I'm saying. So it's down to me to make sure that he's switched on, like really, really switched on early on in the fight, and and then he grows into it and establishes his jab, and I think the fight will sway once he gets the measure of him.
I know this might be a difficult question to answer, but I'll ask anyway. So the Azim that's going to be right at the top of the sport, at the pinnacle, whenever that is, if that's 100% Azim, what percent do you think we've seen now as the boxing public?
It's very, I mean, we got asked this question the other day, so it's hard to say. Adam said like 40%, but you probably have actually only seen about 40-50% of what I've seen in the gym. But then is that the complete Azim? Do you know what I mean? I think he's 22, he's going to only grow, but is he going to get quicker? No. Is he going to get more powerful? No, not really. His time will get better. His understanding of the game will get better. His managing of the rounds will be better. So and he'll be in there with better competition, and when he's got, you know, higher persons and stuff, he'll be flying better sparring partners in. So that will elevate him. But it's all part of the process, and I think it's going to be interesting to see where he is by the time he's 24, 25.
Yeah. So is it just almost tweaking Azim rather than continuing to learn too much, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, you're always striving for those extra percentages. I think he's been in the gym 3.5 years now, maybe 4 years. So
is that flown or not?
Huh? Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Caroline DeBar, same thing. It feels like only yesterday when they walked in the gym, and but it's nice to see. Do you know what I mean?
I'm really looking forward to this fight. I think it's a really good one. After the fight, I know that isn't the focus right now. He hasn't shown that he's the type so far to get on the mic and start going, you're this, you're that. But if he picks up that Sky Sports mic on the broadcast, with everyone watching, is there anything lodged in the back of his head, a name, someone from the hit list that you expect him to kind of gun for?
As in Adam? Yeah, of course. I mean, look, he's taken a bit of stick with the Dalton Smith scenario, but I feel like we took stick for years about. I mean, Eddie Hearn used to give our stick about Josh Taylor, that he was running scared of O'Hara Davies, and then we ended up making the fight and he got knocked out in 6-7 rounds. You know, I'm not being arrogant, but we know boxing, and we back our man. And the thing is it's all about timing. So these things have to make financial sense for the boxer. You only get one crack at a big domestic fight like that, and there's not many names like Dalton Smith. So you've got Dalton Smith and Jack Catchall, you've got Josh Taylor, who's probably going on 147. So there's not many good domestic names out there for Adam to sort of cash in on. And I think, if you look at the middleweights, they're a bit more stacked. You got Hamza, you got Eubank, you got loads of names in and around that division that he could pick off. So we don't have that luxury at 140. So I think it's got to be strategic, but it will happen. And obviously with Riyadh season making these things happen quite early on in the career, like Fabio Wardley versus Fraser Clark got held up, and then they made that happen. They're later on in their career. I think Fraser's 32, 33. So and so is Fabio, is a bit older. But like, what my point being is it doesn't have to necessarily go on pay-per-view. You can make things happen now with Riyadh season, and I think it might not be too far away.
Brilliant. You said Riyadh season. Let's talk about what we saw last Saturday. Who did you have winning the main event, Shane?
I had Better Biev winning when I originally watched it. Since I've watched it again, and I felt like it was like 6-6. So completely sitting on the fence. But
the furore over this,
no,
Bivol must have won the fight. Is a bit too much.
No, I mean I can't see it. I feel like the championship rounds were won by Better Biev. You know, he forced the pace throughout the fight. Bivol looked like he was more hurt throughout the fight. Of course, he landed the slightly more eye-catching shots. Was he consistent? No. His footwork was brilliant, and his jab and his combinations were great, but this wasn't enough of them. And I feel like if he'd have put a little bit more into those last few rounds, then he would have nicked it on everyone's card. But that's the beauty of boxing. It's like, how many fights over the years have we seen that have been in the balance, and people feel like that their man's won or whatever, and they get hung up on the winner, and then they roll it back, and there's always a decider, and it's a perfect scenario to run it back.
Yeah, them small pockets of aggression that we saw from Dimitri Bivol. I know obviously Artur Beterbiev is as big of a puncher as they come at cruiserweight, at light heavyweight, sorry. But them little pockets of aggression that we saw, could they have lasted a little bit longer, do you think? I know
From
obviously
Bivol,
he would have been wary.
Maybe, but how much was it taking? I mean, it's like, imagine hitting a cement wall that's walking into you for like 36 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what he had to do. So, you know, you get discouraged hitting a guy like that, clean on the chin, and he just keeps firing back bombs. Do you know what I mean? He boxed smart. He could have tied him up a little bit. He could have just ran the clock out a little bit with his feet. After those, I mean, the thing is, he was doing some great flurries, and then Beterbiev, he might do 5-10 seconds of a flurry, then Beterbiev's is returning for 20 seconds. Yes, it's not eye-catching, but it's still driving him back and controlling the centre of the ring and forcing the pace, and it just is one of them things, isn't it? It's like what you're looking for, but it's a bit like Canelo versus Golovkin in the first one. It was in the balance. People felt like Golovkin won it. A lot of people felt like Canelo won it. Then he ran it back. I hope we don't get to that scenario where like the fresher man just prevails because it's just a timing thing.
4 years' time.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, they need to do it like ASAP.
Fingers crossed they do. One more on that Riyadh season bill. So we saw Jai Opetaia get a win over Jack Massey. Looked really good. I guess you could say, showed that he's kind of levels above sitting on that elite rung. I asked him if he's going to be in Riyadh for November 16th. He said probably.
Yeah, great.
It's a massive fight, him and Chris. How much focus can you give it? Because obviously you and team have to look ahead.
Listen, at the end of the day,
you've got a massive fight in front of you. So like, where's it sitting about the Opetaia
It's
stuff?
completely out of our radar right now. You know, look at Chris Burns-Smith. He turns up against Lawrence Okoli. He has a flat night against Masternek. He turns up against Riakporhe. Like, because he's thinking about those people, and like, if we start setting our sights on Opetaia, and we're not we're not understanding the challenges of what Zurdo Ramirez faces, like, you know, Joe Smith and him, he won every round. He lost one round against Joe Smith, and he beat Gulamarian, like, who, by the way, was a fight that we were looking at like, yeah, it's a tough fight, that, because he's just going to be constantly in your face. He's like strong, as hard as nails. He punches. You know, he's not got a high punch output, but he delivers them well. You know, and he's always pressing you back. And he's physically strong. So that was a great win for Zurdo. So we got to understand, like, this is a huge challenge. Do you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, we can't get complacent to say, like, look, you know, everyone thought that Chris Burns-Smith was going to lose against Lawrence Okoli. Everyone believed that he was going to lose against Richard Riakporhe. Quite a lot of people felt like he was going to lose against Masternek. So like, we've got to, you know, switch the fuck on, like, and that's really important. That's why this camp is like super important. You know, he's got money in the last few fights that, you know, he never really would have dreamed about making, and he's now made it. His life's changed. He's had a baby, like, but he's still got so much desire and hunger, and he wants to continue to set new goals and achieve new things. And, you know, he's fighting for a unification fight in Saudi Arabia. Like, that is a Cinderella story in itself, but we need to get through this one and then go for Opetaia for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to touch down in Riyadh for that one. Just one final question. I do appreciate your time, because I know obviously you want to kind of get off and be with fighter and team.
Yeah.
How much are you looking forward to? And I know you know, you want to go there, get the win,
Yeah.
do what you need to do for Chris. But how much are you looking forward to just the whole week? We've seen what the stage is like. Everything's bigger, everything's better, it's bolder. There'll be a lot of media, a lot of cameras. How much do you, as a trainer, look forward to that, or is it something that you just got to kind of push to the side? And
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily like it because it's like you can get quite complacent on fight week, and it's a drag. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you're out there, most of the British media is there, but you still get some like American, especially now it's going to be a Golden Boy show. You'll get a lot of American media, and like seeing new faces talk, and just sort of one or two extra interviews like can just drain you. So it's up to manage that. Do you know what I mean? It's up to us to manage that and make sure that he doesn't be dragged here, there, and everywhere. But I know that they like to do like filming and things like that, and like make a little show reel of it. So yeah, there's just lots of new things that Chris is going to experience, but got to take it in your stride and enjoy every moment with it, because like he's 34 years of age and he's worked since he was like 15, 16 years of age in boxing to get to this stage, and like it's going to be over in a blink of an eye. So you may as well enjoy every moment.